That's a big one, and it's tough to do. With a lot of it is like having good parts and having good parts availability and people and.
From sleeping on a friend's couch to owning a $15 million gold mine, Parker Schnabel's journey is nothing short of unbelievable. By the age of 24, he had already pulled in $13 million worth of gold. Today, he pays his crew more than most doctors make annually and drives cars worth more than many people's homes. But what Gold Rush cameras don't show is the real Parker, the wild Vegas trips, the luxury vehicles, and the real reason his girlfriend left him. Parker didn't grow up like most kids. At just 5 years old, he was operating heavy machinery at his grandfather John Schnabel's Big Nugget mine in Haines, Alaska. It wasn't pretend. He was actually behind the wheel of loaders and bulldozers while most kids were still figuring out how to ride a bike. Life in Haines, a remote town of just 1,700, was tough. Winters were brutal, summers were short, and if something broke, you fixed it yourself. That harsh environment molded Parker. While other kids were playing video games, he was learning to manage crews, move dirt, and understand the true value of gold. When his grandfather passed away in 2016, Parker, then a teenager, stepped up and took full control of the family mine. Instead of going to college, he shocked everyone by using his $663,000 college fund to buy mining equipment. It was a bold, calculated risk that paid off and helped turn him into a multimillionaire. Parker made his TV debut at just 16 years old. Quiet and focused, he didn't seem like reality TV material, and producers had their doubts. But when they saw him operate equipment and explain mining strategy without a script, they knew they had something special. His raw talent and confidence impressed everyone. He could run a mine better than most adults. His first TV contract earned him $25,000 per episode, which eventually rose to $100,000. Yet, despite the money, Parker didn't live like a celebrity. He spent on hunting trips and travel with his crew, choosing to create memories rather than buy flashy things. While most teens were in high school, Parker was filming months at a time, running full mining operations, and carrying the weight of a major television show. By his early 20s, he shocked the mining world with one of the largest modern-day gold hauls, 1,029 ounces in a single season, worth over $1.7 million. This wasn't luck, it was the result of precise planning, relentless work, and a deep understanding of the land. At an age when most were in college, Parker was pulling millions from frozen Yukon ground. That season marked a turning point. People no longer saw Parker as a kid with a shovel. He was a serious force in the industry. Years later, at just 28, he stunned everyone by buying Dominion Creek for $15 million, a site estimated to hold $200 million in gold. But the deal came with massive pressure. To break even, Parker had to mine 10,000 ounces per season for 6 years straight. The risk was huge. In the first 4 weeks, his team struggled, pulling just 135 ounces as frozen ground slowed everything down. Still, Parker pushed forward. The pressure would crush most, but he didn't break, he thrived. Because Parker Schnabel isn't just a reality TV star. He's a relentless worker, a risk-taker, and one of the most successful young miners the world has ever seen. When equipment started breaking down and setbacks piled up, most miners would have folded, but not Parker Schnabel. He changed his strategy, upgraded to better machinery, and even invested $540,000 in new water pumps capable of moving 76 gallons a minute to boost gold recovery. Every step he took was a gamble, but Parker kept pushing. The Dominion Creek deal wasn't about fast wins, it was about building something that would last. He accepted short-term losses in pursuit of long-term success. By early 2025, things were still rough at Dominion. Costs were rising, and the gold output wasn't meeting expectations. Then, in a bold and unexpected move, Parker bought 2 more historic claims, Gold Run and Sulphur Creek, for $2.5 million. These weren't random lands. They had been mined for over a century and still held serious potential. Just 2 days into mining Sulphur Creek, the crew pulled out 141.65 ounces of gold, a turnaround that lifted morale instantly. But moving wash plants and machinery 25 miles across harsh terrain took immense effort. The crew was divided. Some saw the move as genius, others feared Parker was digging deeper into debt. Yet he remained clear-headed. He embraced the risk, saying he was ready for whatever came next. The purchase became one of the most dramatic moments of Gold Rush Season 15. Reminding everyone that Parker's success came not from playing it safe but from making hard decisions and owning the outcome. None of this would mean as much if Parker hadn't already achieved what most miners only dream of. By 24, he had pulled over $13 million worth of gold from the ground, an extraordinary feat. While most young adults were just starting careers, Parker was already running one. His journey began at his grandfather's Big Nugget mine in Alaska, where he learned the ropes as a child. At 18, he made a life-changing choice. He used his entire college fund to lease land from mining legend Tony Beats in the Klondike. That bold decision launched his independent career. He assembled his own crew, ran his own site, and committed himself to learning every detail: geology, equipment, leadership. Unlike most young millionaires, Parker didn't splurge on houses or cars. He reinvested in his business, always chasing growth. Each season, he pushed harder to improve. When he left Big Nugget to strike out on his own, it was Tony who gave him his first real opportunity. But that came with a price, a steep royalty structure that increased by 5% every 1,500 ounces. By the time Parker hit 6,000 ounces, he was handing over 25% of his haul. In Season 8, he revealed the reality. On 8,000 ounces, nearly $2 million went to Tony. When Parker tried to renegotiate, Tony refused, forcing Parker to get creative. To avoid rising royalties, Parker began switching wash plants every time they approached the 1,500-ounce mark, exploiting a loophole. It worked, until March 2017, when Tony caught him running rock trucks through his yard, moving dirt from another claim to dodge fees. Tony exploded on camera, accusing Parker of violating the lease. Parker didn't back down, calling Tony out for greed. "You'll get over $1 million this year, and all you have to do is sit back and make money," he snapped. Tony shot back, and Parker ended the exchange with a now iconic, "Then you can go F*** yourself." It was one of the most explosive showdowns in Gold Rush history. Their relationship shifted from mentorship to rivalry, with Tony increasingly viewing Parker as a threat. In Season 13, Tony leased Parker a section of his Indian River claim, but only the part he didn't want. It was both a gesture of respect and a strategic move. Publicly, Tony mocked Parker's high-risk strategy, especially his attempt to run 3 wash plants at once, but privately, he admitted Parker's gold recovery rates were worth learning from. Insiders say he even told his son Kevin to study Parker's methods. By 2025, Parker was $2.5 million in debt just 9 weeks into the season, yet still pushing forward. Even his fiercest critics couldn't deny the truth. Parker Schnabel wasn't just surviving in the mining world, he was rewriting its rules. Parker Schnabel and Todd Hoffman had completely different views on how to run a gold mine, and their clash became one of Gold Rush's most defining rivalries. It all began with a deal that seemed simple but turned into a pivotal moment for the show. At the height of the drama, Parker bought a wash plant from Todd for 700 grams of gold, about $46,000 at the time. Todd thought he was offloading a worthless piece of junk, but Parker had other plans. He made the machine work, and that very wash plant became a cornerstone of his operation. Its success was a blow to Todd's ego and widened the gap between them. Todd, already fading in the spotlight as Parker rose, accused the younger miner of being disrespectful, especially toward older, more experienced workers. He portrayed Parker as arrogant and careless in interviews, suggesting that he dismissed hard-earned wisdom in favor of his own fast-paced methods. What started as a business conflict turned into a generational divide. Todd represented tradition and loyalty, while Parker embodied innovation and ruthless efficiency. Fans were split. Some stood by Todd's old-school values, while others admired Parker's relentless drive for results. The tension escalated beyond words. Real fights broke out on set between their crews, with screaming matches, accusations of sabotage, and even physical altercations. It got so serious that the production team had to intervene to prevent things from falling apart completely. Viewer morale dropped, and for a time, it seemed like Gold Rush might not survive the drama. By 2018, the pressure became too much. Todd Hoffman left the show. His operation had been struggling, and the constant comparison to Parker only made it worse. In later interviews, Todd admitted the toxic atmosphere and stress had begun to affect his personal life and mental health. Even though he returned with his own spin-off, Hoffman Family Gold, his departure from Gold Rush marked the end of one of reality TV's most intense rivalries. Meanwhile, away from the cameras and the minds, Parker Schnabel had his own emotional storyline unfolding. In 2016, while visiting Australia, he met veterinarian nurse Ashley Yule. She brought light and balance to Parker's intense world and eventually joined him in the Klondike, where she wasn't just a visitor, she worked alongside him and the crew in the Gold Room. Parker even said in a 2017 Maxim interview that Ashley didn't get nearly enough credit for how successful that mining season was. Despite the strength of their partnership, their relationship didn't last. In the final episode of Season 8, after pulling a staggering 8,400 ounces of gold worth over $10 million, Parker admitted that losing Ashley was one of his biggest personal failures. He said he didn't prioritize her and that she deserved better. Ashley never responded publicly. She simply wiped all traces of their relationship from social media and returned to Australia. Her silence spoke volumes, making Parker's rare moment of vulnerability all the more poignant. Just months later, on August 13, 2018, fans began speculating again when Parker posted a photo with Sheena Cowell, a British TV professional who worked with Knickerbocker Glory TV. The photo felt personal, and the timing, so soon after his breakup with Ashley, sparked rumors. Though neither Parker nor Sheena confirmed a relationship, her background in reality TV and their sudden closeness left fans wondering if Parker had found love again or was simply trying to move on from one of the few things in life he couldn't control: his heart. It seemed like a good match for someone living such an intense and unusual lifestyle. In a 2024 People magazine interview, Parker Schnabel even joked that explaining his job often makes him sound like he's from a dystopian world. By 2019, however, rumors about his relationship with Sheena Cowell cooled off when it was reported she already had a boyfriend. Then came Tyler Mahoney. In 2020, during Season 4 of Gold Rush, Parker's Trail, Parker partnered with the fourth-generation Australian gold prospector. They were the same age, shared deep roots in mining, and had undeniable chemistry. Fans immediately noticed. Social media buzzed, Reddit lit up with theories, and viewers scrutinized every episode for signs of romance. The show leaned into it, highlighting their teamwork and shared passion, but unlike his previous relationship with Ashley Yule, there was no kiss, no confirmation, just mutual respect and good television. Later, when Parker bought a mining claim in Australia, fans speculated that Tyler might become a permanent part of his story. As of 2023 and 2024, neither has confirmed anything, but the speculation hasn't died. What's certain is they make a strong team. Back in 2018, while filming Parker's Trail in Papua New Guinea, things got heated behind the scenes. A major fallout occurred between Parker and his cameraman, James Lavelle. Initially, they worked well together, but tensions built quickly. On July 12, a dispute over filming a dangerous river crossing erupted into a 3-hour shouting match that crew members heard from over 100 meters away. Parker threatened to quit the project entirely. Just 3 days later, Lavelle was pulled from the shoot. At that point, only 60% of the season had been filmed, and the disruption cost Discovery an estimated $380,000. The fallout didn't end there. On September 3, Lavelle filed a breach of contract lawsuit against Raw TV, the production company behind the series. It was eventually settled out of court in February 2019, but Parker and Lavelle never spoke again. Later that year, Parker found himself in the headlines again, but this time, for a far less dramatic reason. On March 17, 2019, he was pulled over for going 64 miles per hour in a 55 zone on the Haines Highway in Alaska. The $60 speeding ticket wouldn't have made news, but Parker ignored it. A court warning was issued in April, and he finally pled no contest in May. TMZ picked up the story, and it went viral. One tweet joked that Parker could have paid the fine with pocket change from his gold-streaked jeans. The fine wasn't the issue. Fans were more surprised that someone so detail-oriented could let something so minor spiral. But 2024 brought real challenges. What should have been another season of Gold Rush nearly broke Parker. During the filming of Season 15, disaster struck. On June 12, a major equipment failure at Dominion Creek resulted in an estimated $2.3 million in lost gold. Just days later, a 17-day shutdown due to permitting issues cost another $1.5 million in overhead and production losses. By August 3, Parker's cash reserves had dwindled to just $78,000, barely enough to fuel the operation for a week. In a desperate move, he pawned one of his most prized possessions, a 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air that had belonged to his late grandfather. He received $115,000 for it, enough to cover payroll. Things were so dire that on August 28, Parker held an emergency crew meeting, offering his team a chance to walk away with no hard feelings. 3 core members, including Mitch Blaschke, stayed. They worked without pay for 2 weeks, and on September 7, their loyalty paid off. They hit a rich pay streak, pulling 1,872 ounces of gold in a single week, worth over $3.5 million. It saved the entire season. While some of this was shown on Gold Rush, the most intense moments were considered too raw for air. Despite the chaos and millions earned, Parker still lives with surprising restraint. His crew pulled in $24 million during season 14 alone, and he reportedly earns around $100,000 per episode, about $2 million per season. But in interviews he insists he doesn't spend lavishly. At one point, he admitted to crashing on a friend's couch in Los Angeles. Yet other reports claim he owns multiple properties, including a home in Haines, Alaska, and a house in the Yukon. One listing described his Alaskan home as a 2,000-square-foot, 3-bedroom property worth over $950,000. He's also believed to be one of the largest landowners in the Klondike. His vehicles, however, do reflect his wealth: a custom black and red Ford Raptor, a rugged Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, a Jeep Wrangler for off-roading, a modified Chevy Silverado, and multiple ATVs stationed across his claims. Still, Parker maintains that he prefers experiences over material things. He regularly takes his crew on trips, hunting, long weekends in Vegas, and even a father-son World Series outing. In 2023, he spent 3 weeks traveling across London. The truth is, most of what Parker earns goes right back into his mining business. Whether it's risk, reward, or heartbreak, Parker Schnabel doesn't just chase gold. He chases legacy.